The independence illusion, why your strength might be sabotaging your joy. What if everything we've been taught about strength is actually holding us back from our deepest fulfillment? What if the very qualities we've been celebrated for, our independence, our self sufficiency, our ability to do it all without help, are the same qualities preventing us from experiencing the love and connection we secretly crave? I recently had the extraordinary privilege of interviewing La'Tanya Moore Newsome, a transformational coach whose work has shattered conventional wisdom about Black womanhood and redefined what true power looks like. As the visionary founder of I Am Her and the Wife Code, La'Tanya has become nothing short of revolutionary in her approach to healing. She's not just changing individual lives, she's dismantling generational patterns of trauma and isolation that have kept too many brilliant women exhausted, disconnected, and wondering why success feels so empty. Latanya's genius lies in her ability to see beneath the armor of hyperindependence that so many Black women wear as badges of honor. Where society sees strength, she recognizes unprocessed pain. Where the world celebrates self sufficiency, she identifies the cost of never allowing yourself to need anyone. And in doing so, she's creating a movement that's liberating women to experience a kind of power that doesn't demand exhaustion as its price. Today, I want to share what I learned from Latanya's profound wisdom, because these insights aren't just transforming individual lives, they're rewriting cultural narratives that have kept too many of us trapped in cycles of proving, performing, and producing at the expense of our peace. Let's start with a question that might feel uncomfortable. What if your independence isn't actually empowerment? What if it's unprocessed pain? This is the first and perhaps most challenging insight from Latanya's work. For generations, Black women have been taught to wear independence as armor. We've been told that needing no one is the highest form of strength. We celebrate the woman who has it all together, who never asks for help, who handles everything from the boardroom to the bedroom without breaking a sweat. But Latanya's work reveals a difficult truth. What looks like confidence is often survival mode. What appears as strength is frequently a trauma response, a coping mechanism developed through generations of having to be everything for everyone while receiving little support ourselves. I was struck by the story of Monique, a high powered attorney and single mother who came to Latanya's I Am Her program believing her independence was her superpower. On paper, Monique had everything: the career, the house, the respect of her colleagues. But in quiet moments, she felt profoundly alone, exhausted by the weight of carrying everything herself. I was drowning, Monique confessed during a group session. I had built this life where I didn't need anyone, and everyone admired me for it, but inside, I was terrified of letting anyone see that sometimes I just wanted someone to hold me while I fell apart. This is the painful contradiction that Latanya's work addresses head on. So many of us crave deep connection and partnership, yet we've built walls so high that genuine intimacy becomes nearly impossible. We want to be chosen, but we've made ourselves unavailable to be truly seen. We desire rest, but we've convinced ourselves that constant motion is the only way to prove our worth. And here's the revelation that changed Monique's life: her independence wasn't making her powerful, it was making her lonely. It wasn't a choice, it was a prison built from fear. Through Latanya's guidance, Monique began the delicate work of unlearning survival mechanisms that no longer served her. The program's vulnerability practices, like journaling prompts asking, "Who taught you that needing someone made you weak?" forced her to confront the origins of her armor. Boundary setting workshops helped her distinguish between healthy interdependence and codependency. Restorative rituals created space for her to experience rest without guilt. 6 months later, Monique shared a breakthrough. For the first time in my adult life, I asked for help without feeling like I was failing. And you know what happened? The world didn't end. People didn't lose respect for me. Instead, I found connection I never thought possible. This brings us to La'Tanya's second revolutionary insight. Softness and vulnerability aren't weaknesses to overcome, they're superpowers to embrace. In the Wife Code, La'Tanya's program for married professional Black women, participants learn to reclaim their feminine energy, embracing softness, intuition, rest, and trust. But here's the crucial distinction that makes her approach so powerful. This isn't about shrinking or giving up power. It's about what La'Tanya calls healed surrender, making space for partnership by letting go of control and allowing ourselves to receive love and support without guilt or fear. Jasmine, an executive who joined the Wife Code when her 15-year marriage was on the brink of collapse, described her transformation this way. I was running our household like a corporation. Efficiency was my God. My husband felt more like my employee than my partner. I was afraid that if I showed vulnerability, if I let him take the lead, sometimes everything would fall apart. Through curriculum modules like soft power and couples communication exercises, Jasmine learned that her constant overfunctioning wasn't just exhausting her, it was suffocating her relationship. Her husband didn't want a business partner, he wanted an intimate connection with a woman who trusted him enough to be vulnerable. The first time I told him I was overwhelmed and needed help, he looked at me like I'd given him the greatest gift, Jasmine recalled. For years, he'd felt useless in our relationship because I never created space for his strength. When I finally surrendered control, he stepped up in ways I never imagined possible. This is revolutionary. In a world that has often demanded Black women be twice as strong, twice as capable, and twice as independent just to be considered equal, choosing softness feels like rebellion. It feels dangerous. But Latanya's work shows that this reclamation of our full humanity, including our right to be vulnerable, to need others, to receive rather than always give, isn't weakness, it's liberation. The third insight from Latanya's work addresses relationships directly. True connection requires balance, not competition between partners. Many high achieving women have internalized the belief that they need to out earn, outperform, and out hustle their partners to maintain equality or respect. But Latanya's work with couples reveals something surprising. Men don't fall in love with our accomplishments, they fall in love with our presence, our peace, our authentic selves. This doesn't mean diminishing our ambitions or capabilities. Rather, it means understanding that healthy relationships thrive when both partners are allowed to show up in their authentic energies. When women stop performing for love and start being at peace with themselves, they create space for real intimacy, for leadership from their partners, and for mutual growth. And this principle extends beyond romantic relationships. In professional settings, similar transformations occur when women leaders unlearn traditional leadership scripts based solely on self sufficiency. Consider the story of Dr. Taylor, a brilliant school superintendent who participated in authentic leadership development workshops inspired by the same principles La'Tanya teaches. Despite her impressive credentials, Dr. Taylor was burning out fast, believing that asking for help would undermine her authority in a male dominated field. I thought leadership meant having all the answers, she shared. I was exhausted trying to be the heroic problem solver for an entire district. Through workshop sessions focused on collaborative problem solving and peer mentoring circles, Dr. Taylor discovered that vulnerability could actually enhance her leadership. When she began sharing challenges openly with her team and inviting their solutions, not only did better ideas emerge, but her staff felt more invested, more valued, and more loyal. My leadership became more powerful when I stopped trying to be powerful, she reflected. By creating space for others to lead alongside me, we accomplished things I never could have done alone. What's particularly striking about Latanya's approach is that it's grounded in real world results. The I Am Her program has helped hundreds of Black women break free from cycles of emotional self protection. Graduates report improved mental health, reduced anxiety, increased openness in romantic relationships, stronger friendships rooted in authenticity rather than performance, and greater professional satisfaction due to healthier work life boundaries. The impact extends beyond individual relationships. As Latanya puts it, when one woman learns she doesn't have to carry everything alone, she models that possibility for everyone around her. Her children learn new ways of being. Her colleagues see different approaches to leadership. Her community witnesses what healed relationships can look like. This ripple effect is evident in the testimonials from program participants who described not just happier marriages, but improved co parenting dynamics, greater sense of belonging within extended family systems, and new ways of showing up in community groups. So, what does all this mean for you? What if you've spent years, perhaps decades, building your identity around being the strong one, the independent one, the one who needs no help? Latanya's message isn't that you should abandon your strength. It's that true strength includes the courage to be vulnerable. It includes knowing when to lead and when to be led. It includes the wisdom to recognize that interdependence, not independence, is the healthiest human state. As you leave here today, I challenge you to examine the armor you've been wearing. Ask yourself, is my independence a conscious choice? Or is it a protective mechanism that's outlived its usefulness? What might become possible in my relationships, my career, my inner life if I allowed myself to need others sometimes? What would it feel like to trust that I am worthy of support, not because of what I accomplish, but simply because of who I am? The journey from hyper independence to healthy interdependence isn't easy. It requires us to face fears of abandonment, disappointment, and loss of control. It demands that we develop discernment about who is worthy of our vulnerability. It asks us to tolerate the discomfort of receiving, of allowing others to see our needs and meet them. But on the other side of that discomfort lies a freedom most of us have never known, the freedom to be fully human, the freedom to rest, the freedom to be imperfect, the freedom to be held. And perhaps that's the most radical act of all, to declare that you, in all your magnificent strength, also deserve to be supported, that you, who have carried so much for so long, deserve to put the load down sometimes, that your worth isn't measured by how much you can handle alone, but by how authentically you allow yourself to be seen, known, and loved. The world doesn't need more exhausted warriors. It needs whole, healed humans who understand that true power isn't about independence at all. It's about connection. You don't have to carry it all alone anymore. And that, my friends, is not weakness, it's wisdom.